Hello, welcome to the final episode of Civics for now. This is the end of my, syllabus to say of civics that I wanted to cover in this first batch of videos. There are more things that I might cover in the future, but until then, this is it. This will be the last civics video for now. And today I wanted to talk about local government. So government that's not at the state level, not at the federal level, or your day-to-day government um, at level that you're at, where you are in your town or area or city or wherever. And like the state government one, this is going to be really general. And that's because each area is different. So there's going to be lots of differences based on where you live and the things that affect you. But I'm going to try to cover as much of it as possible so you have a good idea of generally how that kind of stuff works. So like I said, right, each area is different, but there are some things that they're similar amongst the states. For one, each state is broken up into subdivisions that are often called counties. So, for instance, in Wisconsin, there's like 20 or 30 counties. It changes based on the state. I grew up in Illinois, in one of the biggest counties in the country, in Cook County. Huge county, huge government. They do a lot of different things in Cook County, right at the county level. So the amount of influence and authority that they have over things changes depends on where you are too, right? The county I live in now in Wisconsin does not have the same kind of authority or power as Cook County does in Illinois. So that changes based on where you live too. Then there's a municipality. A municipality is a government around a population center. So it could be like a city or an area or anything, right? Those are different types of municipalities. Like for instance, the city of New York is a municipality, right? It has power over New York City. And then a township is often in the Midwest and also in some Western states. And basically, when those states were being made, they divided up the whole state into these nice little square plots. And each one of those plots is a township, and that was just making it easier to govern those territories. Um, so in where I grew up in Illinois, my school district was built around a township instead of around a certain town or city, which was interesting. So we had like four towns in our township, and that was our school district based off of that. So those sorts of township things are interesting, but the actual township government didn't do that much. It didn't have that much power. So whatever. Those exist if you're in the Midwest or in some Western states. There are townships as well, and they have varying degrees of power or authority as well. Now, the other thing about local government is that there's these special districts that can be created in different areas to do different things. One thing I already mentioned was a school district. So school districts are technically government entities, and they have special authority over the geographic area that they have been given to run the schools of that area. So wherever you live, there is a school district um, that runs the schools in your area. Special districts have the power, depending on what they're given the right to do. They can tax you. They can impose limits upon you. There are different things that they're able to do. School districts, for instance, generally they have to lay taxes so that they can pay for the schools. So no matter where you live, some of your taxes go to a school district or something like that, public schools that everybody is allowed to go to. There are other types of special districts as well. For instance, there are districts that are set up just to deal with airports. So I'm sure there's one of those in Chicago, correct? They have the O'Hare Airport. So that's probably a special district. They have things that deal just with highways. There are things that deal just with utilities. There are things that deal with energy creation, all sorts of different things. There's so many different things that these special districts can be in charge of. And so depending on where you live and what sort of things have been set up, there will be all sorts of different special districts that apply to you. Right? In my town, we have a school district, and I believe there's a couple other ones I'm not 100% sure on, so I don't want to lie to you. I'm just going to say I think there are more, but I don't actually know. See, I'm not all 100% caught up on my stuff. Okay? Local government power is provided by the state. So the state government is the one that's allowing really all of this to happen. And they do that because they can't control everything on their own. And so they're divesting power to other smaller entities to allow them to do some of the work that the state government would otherwise have to do, which makes sense, right? If you're going to be in charge or you're going to have a lot of power, it's good to divvy that power out to smaller entities and allow them to do some of the work so you don't have to do all of it. So that's what the state government is doing in this sense. Local government is power that is borrowed from the state government to do certain things. Now, individual cities, towns, whatever, also can have different types of government. Currently, I live in a city. I live in a city. In Wisconsin, you get to decide if you're a city, a town, or whatever. And there are certain rules that go with that. In other states, it's based on your population, right? So New York's a city because it's huge. Other places are not cities because they're not as big, right? So it depends on where you live and how that all gets decided. But the state does decide that level of whether you're a city or a town or a village or hamlet or whatever, right? They get to make those decisions. Generally, city governments are also laid out in a similar way to state governments. So, for instance, there's going to be an executive of some sort, maybe a mayor or some other sort of title that they give to the person who's kind of in charge of that area. And then the legislative part could be all sorts of different things. There could be a town council where members are elected to go and talk. There could be if you ever watch like Gilmore Girls, they have those meetings in that big barn, right? That's a legislative council. So that kind of thing could work. Um, there could be a group of aldermen. So if your town might have like aldermen that get elected and they go and talk for the different districts of the city or the town. So there's all sorts of different ways that they make that legislative authority within towns or villages. And so, right, the alder people pass resolutions, and then the mayor can decide if that's going to happen or not, right? So he's the one who signs the laws into effect, right? Or the proclamations or whatever it is that they call them. There's all sorts of different names. So each state, I said, has different ways of defining whether you're a city, a town, or whatever. And so wherever you live, you can go and you can probably find out that information by just looking at the state's website. I'm sure that information is widely available. I know for the stuff for Wisconsin, it is. You can just go and search Wisconsin state government, and their website will pop up, and you can look at all sorts of different things that they're allowed to do. And you can even do that for your city or town. I'm sure they also have a website um, that has that sort of basic government information on it. Thank you so much for watching Civics. I hope that you've learned something and that this has helped you navigate your civics course that you've had to take um, in high school or whenever, maybe in 8th grade. I know some 8th graders take civics. Um, when more stuff comes to mind and I end up making more videos, they will, of course, be added to this playlist. But until then, this is it. So thank you so much for watching Civics. And I'll see you in some other video series I do. Have a great day, full of civic knowledge. Bye.